What's going on, guys? Today's video is going to be a video that I procrastinated on doing since, honestly, the summer. So about a year ago, I started releasing story times, and I've only put out one since. And, yeah, I've had others in mind to do, and I just haven't really, you know, given much, like I had them in mind, but then I just, put them in the back burner, and they kind of just stayed there for about a year. So, yeah, second story time, and this is going to be one, two stories combined into one, actually. It's going to be two hospital visits on Easter. And one of them was only about 5 years ago, so in that one, most everybody I know pretty much knows that story already, but I'm just going to explain again because why not? And then the other one was about a week before I turned 7 years old, so we're going to go chronological order here, so we're going to do the 2007 incident first. So Easter that year, I want to say it was like the second or third Sunday of April. I don't remember offhand. But yeah, so pretty much the gist of what was happening was we were in my old house, like around like North Jersey. And we were getting ready to go to church just as a normal Easter Sunday, right? And they were, carpeted stairs with a carpeted landing, thankfully. And I had just gotten like new shoes, I think, and like I might have like slipped on the stairs. And see, it was a hairpin fracture in my collarbone. And we thought that it was like a broken arm at first. And so pretty much what had happened there, we took me to the computer, and I still remember how much pain I was in just trying to like type stuff. And then that was where we were like, we're going to the hospital, not church. And so, yeah, we took me there and, took some x-rays. It was a hairpin fracture. It didn't require any surgery, but I do vividly remember being in that sling for, I want to say I was in that thing for a month. I really don't remember, and I was, the other one that I'm going to be telling in this video sticks to me a lot more because it was a lot more recent. And yeah, that one was probably a little bit more serious than this. Yeah, I want to say it was my right collarbone. It was a hairpin fracture, so it was only a slight fracture. It wasn't like it was, snapped in half and needed immediate surgery or anything like that. And so yeah, pretty much all that I remember about that one. And now we're gonna get to the 2019 one. Now this one sticks to me a lot more. Well, because it was a lot more recent, and I feel like this one was probably the more traumatic of the two. So, Easter that year, I remember vividly, it was 4 days after my 19th birthday. So that was April 21st, 2019. And this was a total freak accident that happened out of nowhere. So, I took a bad spill in my basement, and I had realized, I thought I just bruised my kneecap at first, but then, or at first, yeah, I thought I just bruised it because I didn't, feel any, severe pain, immediately. It took a little bit. And then I realized I couldn't move it, and before even looking, I was like, it's probably a little more serious than that. Yeah, it was. And then I saw it completely on its side. I'm like, oh, shit. And so, yeah, I knew right away that it was dislocated. And so, yeah, this has been like a thing that kind of, most of you know me, it's been a thing that kind of like runs with my family. And, now this was my turn. I was the last one. And so, yeah, and it wasn't even that hard of a fall. So, the dislocation part definitely caught me kind of a shock, to say the least. And so, yeah, I was in my basement when it happened, and, we called, paramedics immediately, and it was my first time riding in an ambulance, which was, I would say it felt weird, but I think I was just so focused on the severe pain of the whole thing that I couldn't even, comprehend anything else at the moment. But it was mostly oh my god, what just happened? I remember, like, before, they even showed up at the house and I was just laying on the floor, I felt like sweat. Which I think it was just all the tension of the situation. And so, yeah, rushed me to the hospital and I was in the ER for about, like, it was 4 hours, I want to say, maybe 3. It really felt a lot longer than 3, but I want to say it was closer to 4. And so, yeah, they were trying to get it in multiple times and not having any luck. And typically with stuff like this, I had heard that, getting it popped back in was the most painful part, and it absolutely was. I can't remember the last time that I screamed in public like that. It had probably been since I was like a little kid. And yeah, I was 19 when this happened. So they tried like a couple different times, and it was just stubborn. It wasn't going back in. And, so yeah, they gave me Ivy, and then, it knocked me out, but it numbed I don't know if it numbed the pain really, but it definitely did knock me out. That was one of my first times, at least in recent memory, I can remember being knocked out. I know I had some sort of like eye surgery when I was like 3 or 4, but obviously I don't remember that too well. And it was a pretty weird feeling, to say the least. Like, I got up, I saw, and he was back where it should be, but I was also like, I almost didn't even know where I was. And, yeah. And then, right after, I had, awoken after that, they put me in a wheelchair because I was still pretty disoriented and, not able to, and, they gave, the wheelchair part was only for, like, a few minutes just so I can, like, get to, like, the bathroom and stuff. And then gave me crutches, which was honestly probably the worst part of the whole thing, because those were a bit of a pain to get used to. And so, yeah, that was that. No, yeah, I think I was in the mobilizer, which is essentially just a giant cast on my that covered up 80% of my leg for about, it was 3 weeks, I want to say. Could have been a little more than that. I think it was a little more than that, actually. And so it was pretty much just to, prevent it from moving. And, then I got downgraded to, just a knee brace, which I had on for until about the middle of July. And then, by that point, I was basically a free bird. But there were definitely still a lot of things I was very hesitant to do after what had happened, especially because it was so sudden. And, yeah. So pretty much for that story. Now, most people that know me, also everyone that knows me knows what happened and, all that stuff. This is one of my first times really publicly releasing the whole story. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for today's story time. There'll probably be others down the line, some that are obviously a lot more positive than this, but yeah, that's what I'm intending to put out for about a year now, and here we are. Finally did. That's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.